And the sun is beginning to set at Brands Hatch, and therefore race 2 reverse grid time. Nice little buzz around the paddock and the crowd there, as we're kind of safe in the knowledge that Wurz is not going to be in the lead of the championship by the end of this race. Safe in the knowledge that Alpha and Volvo might knock Renault off their we could say well held. It's been less of a capitulation than it was last season, but a capitulation nonetheless. But reverse grid time, Bianchi did not get 10th, so it's Webber on pole alongside Wurz then. And with Schneider P4, we could be seeing a theoretical BMW 1-2, but we could also see the 1-2 in the guise of Kubica sneaking his privateer BMW in P5, and then it's an Alpha 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, Ingram P10 with more work to do than he did in race 1. Alongside me once again, Adrian Michael Rees, is Michael Swinnerton. The excitement around the paddock, it's not fever pitch. They were incredibly pleased to see Ingram win, but they're all prepping, I suppose, for being up early enough to watch the Fuji race next time by.
Yeah, it's a relatively short turnaround time between the end of this race and going to Fuji, so the teams will have their work cut out for them, and we'll hope to see a bit of a shake-up in the grid for Fuji, because of course it's a very different track to Brands Hatch, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there, because we've got this race to do first.
And watch it we shall with you. Webber and Paul then. We're expecting those Renaults not to be in the top 3 at the end of the lap, as the BMWs get away very well. Webber definitely saw Schneider already into P2 then. And then Ekstrom with a very good start then. And already, what the hell's going on with that Renault at the back of the grid? They've somehow, Wurz had some kind of technical issue and decided to almost reverse railroad everybody else on the grid there. This is going to be interesting. So, not best of starts compared to a rear-wheel drive car. Front row of the grid to the tail end of the midfield. Gravel, and that was one of the Cobra cars into the back of the Bianchi Renault then. What an embarrassing start for Renault then. Well, it's painful. I mean, we weren't expecting it to be that bad, and here it is. We can't deal with it. I'm sure Renault can't deal with that either.
Yeah, that move right there just killed their championship hopes. I think Wurz, in his panic to try and get the car gathered up, might have hit the pit lane speed limiter switch. He might have hit the kill switch and then got the car fired again. It is incredibly unfortunate that he held up his own teammate as well as a couple of other cars in doing that. But that has completely murdered his chance at getting a good haul of points to keep his championship hopes alive here.
It stunned the booth at least, and it stunned a handful of the crowd outside, and to a lesser degree it stunned the rest of the pack. Cobra up in the midfield, as strong as they have been. We've seen stronger, but this looks as if that BMW 1-2 I was worried about is gonna come to fruition. However, Ekstrom might have a say on the matter. Already ahead of Ekstrom, already ahead of Kubica is Ekstrom.
Yeah, pulling away nicely too, it seems. We've got the Volvo wired up and working well. Everyone just sort of spread out now after the Renault shenanigans. Apart from here at 10th place, that's a bit of a wiggle.
And we were worried about a wobble on.
Cork in a bottle here.
Bianchi off on the gravel as well then.
God, are we going 3 wide into Druids? No, not quite, okay.
We were expecting one of the rear-wheel drive wobble-ons to be a bit more dramatic, but Renault have eclipsed the lot. I think we shall still have to stop referencing that, because until they get into the top 15, there's not much more we have to concern ourselves with. It's definitely Alpha's lead of the manufacturer championship by the end of this one, and it's definitely Ingram or Fisichella in the drivers at the end of this race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The Renaults need to be careful not to get caught up fighting with the traffic back here and move their way through the traffic, should they want any points back after this. But that is complete disaster. However, in Nico Wurz's defence, you know, I've seen a lot of cars run wide at Paddock Hill Bend and do exactly that over the years. He did a good job not to spin it. If he'd have dipped a rear wheel on the gravel instead, that would have been a much bigger incident, because he would have spun in front of the entire pack of cars coming at him there. So that could have been a lot worse, but at the same time, that is huge in terms of championship implications.
That could be to anyone. It just had to be one of the Renaults when they had to produce. Yes, they've produced something, but that's not what that's not what anyone, let alone Renault, were asking for of either of their drivers. We still race on then. First flying lap of the race. Ingram already with the fastest lap. We're expecting that to change again, as we did towards the end of race 1.
Yeah, absolutely. That would surprise me if that changes hands a few times, despite the traffic up and down the grid. Everyone's sort of nestling off into their own little pockets of cars to race with now. Little groupings here and there. Looks like Ingram's going to try. We've got a bit of a deja vu here. Look, Ingram's going to push Wittmann past DHL Alpha into Hawthorns. Does it first try this time. So Wittmann ahead of Dumas, and then Ingram follows through at Westfield. Doesn't really give room again. He's being a bit of a naughty boy through that corner. But hey ho, that's 2 places lost for Dumas in quick succession there.
Another lap almost complete then. Ingram, Wittmann in a similar position to race 1 then.
And Ingram knows he can get past these cars in front because he's already done it once.
Well rehearsed around here. Dumas down to 7th. Well, Hartley also. We say down to, that's kind of almost their reverse grid average starting position then, if they were going to be starting 7th and 8th, but they're also holding up Fisichella now. This will be very interesting by the end of this race in terms of who's going to be leading the Drivers' Championship then. My mind was on Fisichella, but Ingram might have a say on things.
Yeah, this has played into Ingram's hand at the best possible time, considering he was only 3 points off the lead going into this race, and he has done, as I said earlier, more laps than anyone else round here. So he knows this track super well. So he can just capitalise on that, overtake people where they don't realise they can be overtaken, end up with an incredibly good points haul by the end of the day.
There's Lammers almost on the inside of Zhou Sheng. Nope, too far back still.
Right, yeah, Zhao Cheng with a good qualifying effort, but it's clear that he doesn't know the track that well, as he's got himself past quite a few times. But this is a very good learning experience for him. Should they be back next year, I believe they will be. So he can take all that knowledge learned, come back next time and have a better showing of things, back up that qualifying effort a little bit better.
Lama's probably got one more season in him, and at least with Honda next season he's got to produce a bit more, I think, be a bit more of a team leader, unless Michele Zanardi himself, P10 right now ahead of Palou, does put the Dutch driver, 3rd season now, to shame.
Yeah, Lammers has been solidly reliable, hasn't really produced that much in the wins column, but it's very rare to see Lammers outside the points. So he's very much in the safe pair of hands category of drivers, which is no bad thing, of course. That is a good thing to have that will keep you in a work seat.
That being said, Honda's scoring this season, whilst good, definitely needs to be better.
Yeah,
And,
they're scratching their heads and not happy about things. I have heard that they're going to have a big team meeting at Suzuka in the middle of the week, which is going to include the World Series drivers and the Japanese Series drivers, to have a huge shakedown test with all, and indeed the Tamiya team are going to be there. So all 6 of the Civics, all 7 of the Civics, because Tamiya's single car in the Japanese Series will be there as well. Meanwhile, Fisichella making a meal of things, trying to get around Hartley. They've been too wide for a good few corners now. She does have the preferred line into clearway, so he should get this done. Gives Hartley lots of room. He could easily shoulder him onto the gravel there. Doesn't. Hartley gets a better run out the corner. He's back in front. They've got to be careful now, because Zanardi is right there with them, and so is Palou.
Absolutely.
So this is
Zanardi might want a word here.
2 Alphas, 2 Fords, 2 Privateers, 2 Works.
Less of a wobble on this time. Like maybe they've found something that BMW haven't. From the Chaser haven't either. Chaser, Crown Athlete, I mean. So I used to say Chaser. I wonder why. Anyway, Fisichella then still struggling for points in 9th place. It is Webber and Schneider. BMW 1-2 still. Ekstrom hasn't made inroads to that. Ingram, however, is gaining ahead of Whitman now. Gaining on the favourite for the Works BMW seat then. Kubica, their European champion last season. Stale compared to last season. Highlighted in some good performance in the previous race, but overall, I mean, it's hard to say it's been bad, but with Cobra and DHL doing the business, a single car privateer entry, it has to be down to the individual, I guess.
I mean, Kubica's had the deck stacked against him here, being just a single car team, and he's done well for a privateer, and obviously we know he's got the speed because he's got that European Series Championship under his belt. He is catching Ekstrom here. I think Ingram needs to get a bit of a wriggle on if he wants to divert attention away to stop Kubica trying to get 3rd place here. But the top 5
different is from Ingram.
Yeah, the top 5 is just BMW and Volvo now. There's a big wiggle for Kubica. Ingram just slips on by. That was incredibly opportunistic, but very well done.
Once that wobble was in place, that was an open door on the outside for Ingram. Nowhere else to go but oxygen.
So Kubica down to 5th, still a good result for him, all things considered. We'll have to see if Ingram now plays nice behind his teammate or maximises championship points and gets that podium position off him. I think given the play where Fisichella and Wurz are currently, I think Ingram can afford to just sit in 4th place and let Ekstrom have the podium finish. We also don't know how much Ingram's burnt his tyres up moving through the traffic going from 10th to 4th in the first place, so he might not actually be able to do anything about it, but doesn't look like the case. He's on the back of Ekstrom now.
Will they ask Ekstrom to play team fiddle? It obviously is going to help Ingram's chances driver-wise. Constructor-wise, still looks very good.
It's a big point for Volvo with having both cars in the top 5 rather than just the one. So they'll make a decent amount of inroads on Renault especially. Alfa Romeo less so.
Meanwhile, 7th to 10th is still the Alpha train. Mind you, I'll tell you what, Palou's sliced that.
Yeah, Hartley's lost a couple of positions, so Palou and Fisichella have gotten past. Zanardi has yet to do so. Doesn't look particularly threatening just yet. But Fisichella up another couple of points to help his title hopes out. He's got Dumas in front of him. I would expect the same level of resistance in Dumas that Hartley gave. Just needs to get there and get up to his back bumper first.
That resistance being, oh, we've got an Alpha next year. Oh, we don't? Only if we let you through? Okay, we'll let you through. Please keep us these cars for next season. He said cynically. On board with Lammers then. Stagnant position of 13th.
Well, stagnant but comfortable position of 13th. This is where he was last race, so this is Lammers being consistent. And if this is as much as the Honda can give, then this is the best that Lammers can give. We'll have to see if that big test at Suzuka yields anything with this car. It's all plain sailing at the minute, everyone in their own little space.
Roughly 6 laps to go then, track getting cooler, fastest lap has not been eclipsed after lap 2.
No, Ingram still holds on to it. Lap times are a couple of seconds slower than they were in race 1 because people were doing 33s.
Interesting. Fisichella in a good position to gain.
Bit of a wiggle.
That is DHL being a bit of a yellow brick wall.
Fisichella could have pulled out in Druid, going up the inside into Druids there, but didn't. Discretion's the better part of valour, apparently. Into Graham Hill we go. It's always crucial to get a good exit here, because if you can get alongside someone going into Surtees, they can't really do anything about it. Too far back to do anything there, though. Same again here, good exit out of Surtees, equals almost a guaranteed spot into Hawthorns, but they're fairly even. There's a little bit of gaining going on here, but that's probably down to the slipstream. Fisichella is going to have a look. I don't think he's quite close enough to really send it. He doesn't. They go too wide. And it looks like he might just get the move done. Too wide into Westfield. This could be potentially very dangerous because that is a curb of death on the inside of Westfield, as Fisichella proves. Gets a wiggle on, loses that side by side, which is for the better into Sheen, because you do not want to go too wide into Sheen.
Duma, the better and more experienced of the two DHL drivers, then to allow that to slide, still get ahead, but make up, well, surely the Alpha message. I mean, we're not seeing any activity on the pit wall here. Maybe, well, if I work this out now, I might have to just, well, we've got 5 to go. Let's work this out.
Well, I mean, they're still in the top 10. It's still good points hauls. They can still be in the title hunt with an 8th place finish, but obviously the more the merrier. So Fisichella into Druids once again. On the back bumper of Dumas, does not try anything into Druids, as is tradition now.
So whatever happens, it'll be Ingram and Fisichella on the points ahead of Wurz. That's what's going to be changing here. It just depends on Ingram, more likely ahead of Fisichella. Whether that's a 8, 9, 10 or 11 point gap is down to how well Fisichella now performs. If Ekstrom lets Ingram through, but Ekstrom is now ahead of Sophia Schneider. There's 2nd to 5th having a good battle then. Webber still invisible shot just then. Excellent team play inbound, no doubt.
Yeah, this is all closed up rather quickly. I don't know what's happened to Schneider's car, that she's fallen off in pace. But here she is now down to 3rd. Got Ingram behind her, so it's going to be a real danger for her to lose her podium finish here.
Wurz also making a bold statement. Kubica making a bold statement. And already behind Ingram as Ingram makes the move.
Yeah, Ingram slots in behind Schneider. Kubica going to go around the outside. That's brave. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. Ingram could have been a lot nastier and shoved him all the way onto the gravel, but he didn't. Ingram now on the outside for Schneider for Druids. That's going to slot back in line there. He doesn't want to lose a position to Kubica.
Given the momentum of the team, the PKP Polish entry from Kubica, I think they've managed to hit like almost like an aerodynamic brick wall and just prevented them from getting ahead.
Meanwhile, Ekstrom's going for the lead.
Ekstrom. They're not the fastest laps, so this is going to be the excitement for the last 3.5 laps.
Webber just has a really good line through Hawthorns, can carry a lot of speed compared to the other cars around him, gets himself a little bit of a gap. It's all calmed down a little bit now. Schneider's got herself a gap to Ingram. Ingram's got Kubica all over the back of him, but I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue for Anthony in the Volvo. We'll see if they all accordion back up again. Maybe Webber was just cooling his tyres down, letting everyone back up to him.
So a definite top 5, then a gap. So the chances for a podium finish are between these 5. Wittmann almost holding up Dumana to try and let Fisichella through.
Yeah, these three still haven't sorted themselves out. Palou is hanging onto the coattails, the 3 Alphas in front. So this is a good run for Palou after a dismal race 1, and after being somewhat invisible over the course of this season. He's had a few good finishes, but nothing too striking. Ford have just sort of solidly been there this year rather than towards the back end struggling for points like they were last season.
Single win, but so's Dumas and Carlos Moreno have got a single win as well. As has Jamie Webber. Yeah, definite variety at the top of the podium. The way things are looking, Jamie Webber is set for his 2nd of the season. As far as the multiple wins are concerned, it's still in the hands of Nico Wurz and Henri Bianchi. Total of 6 wins. We know where they should be in the championship, except we know they aren't. We all know they aren't.
Yeah, it's always worth, this is a very obvious thing to say, but it's always worth winning the race because that gets you the most points. But what I mean by that is there's a big points jump between 1st and 2nd place. So getting that extra position, the points have been set up in such a way that it's to try and encourage drivers to go for the win rather than just settle for 2nd with points. And then there's another jump down to 3rd and another jump down to 4th.
And yet it seems the consistency has paid off for the likes of Alpha, who have still only got half of the wins that Renault have, and still in they were in a strong position throughout. I don't think they actually they might have underperformed at the beginning, but it's still a very good performance nonetheless throughout the season. And whilst wins are wins, you've got to keep that going to win a championship.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sabine Whitman, for example, has only got 1 finish so far this season outside the top 10, as there goes Fisichella finally around Dumas. Took him a few more laps than he would have liked, but he's got there.
Too little too late for any stronger points position, but it'll be enough to keep Ingram worried. Going to Japan, going to Fuji. We're about to cross the line for 1 more lap. Webber with a gap to Ekstrom, with a gap to Schneider, less of a gap to Schneider, and even less of a gap to Ingram and Kubica.
Yeah, 2nd, 3rd and 4th are now starting to accordion up together again. Kubica just falling off the back of it a little bit, but that's okay. Schneider with a wiggle on through Paddock Hill again, as is now tradition, as they all concertina up into Druids. Ekstrom is going to have to be careful. This is where the Volvo is not particularly happy, through the tight and twisties. We've seen that at other circuits so far this season.
And
it
once
needs
this
the
is
Grand Prix
spread
to stretch its legs.
And once this is spread out, let's look at the Italian battle further back. Just a brief glimpse of Fisichella still not closing in on Wittmann. I think if with 1 more to go, doing the right thing, you've got the same amount of manufacturer points, but Fisichella with 1 more will look better for your teammate there, Sabine. Not that they can hear us, of course.
No, there's enough daylight there between the 2 cars. I don't see anything happening anytime soon. Palou, on the other hand, is getting a bit aggressive on the back bumper of Dumas. I don't know if he's got enough corners and enough road to do anything about it, but the Ford is looking racy at the very least.
Definitely not a Sheen then. 2 to go for them, but 1 to go for the likes of Webber. Ekstrom, this is the closest they've been. And it looks as if, yep, Webber's got his second win of the season. Ingram tried a very opportunistic line exit of cleaways, but it did not gain any ground on Schneider. Decent points haul for them, then going to Japan. Palou up to 9th then. Not even strong 11th. But Nico Wurz, one single solitary point. Not enough of a consolation given what happened at the very start of the race. Not exactly edge of the seat stuff from the crowd, mild cricket golf style applause from them as everyone crossed the line. No overexcitement as such. They're still, like I said, we're all prepping for an epic showdown effectively when we head to Japan. Almost, well, I was going to say I hope it's dry, but do we really want it to be weather like this for a bit more excitement? Who knows? But yeah, not exactly a stale weekend though, but we were expecting better things to happen. Would that be fair to say?
To a degree, yes. I think Wurz provided all the excitement at the beginning of race 2 there, so he sort of used up the excitement quota, as it were. But either way, that's now left us with a very interesting championship battle with 1 round to go. It's essentially down to the 3 cars. It's down to Ingram, Wurz, and Fisichella. So 2 front-wheel drives and a rear-wheel drive. Can Fisichella keep up the streak of rear-wheel drive champions? Can Wurz get his second ever championship? Can Ingram be the Volvo upset, even though he's now leading the points? It'll be interesting. And then if it rains, then, we just throw all the scripts out the window and pray.
It's been a very strong development for the Volvo team that took over the Toyota front-wheel drive slot. We'll be seeing one of the Toyota alumni and another local when they get their support race in. You'll see that on the showcase feed of this particular channel. And to round this off then, we better look at how the points stand. Even though we assumed there would be a gap between Ingram and Fisichella, it is definitely an 11-point gap. Ingram with the foot on the top of the World Championship podium then, but the other one is still potentially going to be tripped up by Fisichella, 11 points behind. So 284 for Ingram, 253 for Fisichella. Nico Wurz has only managed 8 points this whole weekend. Down to 3rd he goes. Sabine Wittmann up 1 position, 221. Henri Bianchi down 1 as well, only managing 5 World Championship points. Much of the evidence in this week, in this particular race, as to why that happened. Jamie Webber making a gain as well from 9th to 6th on 201. Niki Lauda's down 191. Sophia Schneider also gaining as well, up to 189 cars. Palou down 1 to 175. And rounding up the top 10 is Salo, Palou's teammate. So Ford are kind of there. It's just there's been better performing drivers throughout the whole season. As for the privateer drivers, it's going to be a close one now, because whilst as Mauro Zanardi has got 6 points in the bag, Moreno managed to get 4. And that could be, between those two, an inter-team battle in the privateers is something we didn't have on the script before this championship. We didn't exactly have it planned for this one. But that might be the case further back in the pack if the excitement boils out at the front of it, because the the privateer team championship, the independence championship, is definitely Cobra's to lose. I doubt they're going to capitulate at all. I don't think they're going to be in a non-scoring position compared to DHL. DHL, though, are very close indeed, but I doubt that's going to happen. As for the Manufacturers' Championship, the Constructors' Championship, Renault have definitely not only lost that, but it was just very much a loss of the plot. And feel free to deny that if you will back in France. Alpha and Italy won't mind, as they've taken the lead of that Manufacturers' Championship. Volvo on 474 for Alpha, 453 for Renault, 429 for Volvo. So it's very likely that Volvo, of all the teams, will end up taking second. If do we see them taking the Manufacturers' Championship? I doubt it. Alpha have been in a strong position before. It's very likely the manufacturers for Alpha, but the drivers next time by, not next weekend, in a fortnight's time, will be definitely jet lagged if it's next week. God almighty. But yeah, the fan base will be, well, actually, do you think they'll be as electric as they were last season if Honda aren't doing that well?
I don't see why not. The Japanese fans are very, very passionate. Plus, they will have the season finale of the Japanese Super Touring Championship there, where they've got all manner of homegrown heroes and manufacturers to cheer for. So even if Thompson and Lammers don't quite perform at Fuji, the fans will still have something to get excited about with the Japanese series races.
And we cannot wait for what might be a last race of the season, not let alone last round. Race number 22 might be where it gets decided. We cannot wait. So on behalf of Michael Swinnerton, Adrian Michael Reese here, good racing everyone. We'll see you in Japan. Sayonara.